The gun grips real nicely and it shoots real well, even with the square angle, which I was a little bit worried about. The magazine release right here is made of steel. The best part about this magazine release is that it bypasses all the problems associated with this size, guns of this size. People have accidentally activated these slide releases and dropped their magazines enough that they're sort of sticking out like this. When they pull the gun out or when they're shooting it, it ends up like this. Well, this gun bypasses the problem because you actually have to work to press this thing. It's recessed to where when your thumb is resting into this notch right here when you're holding the firearm, and when you're firing it, the thing is actually out of your way. You have to, when you're done shooting it, actually press the thing and the magazine releases, and then you can pull it out. So that's a very good feature of the the magazine release. Now looking at the magazine itself, the magazine is has these notches built into it, the small windows or small notches, which show you how many rounds are in the magazine at the moment. This is a steel magazine made in Italy. It's very high quality. Again, there's a touch of quality from Diamondback right here. You can see that they're advertising their company name on the back of the magazine, and then the nice logo right here. And the magazine is very, very smooth. You can, I'm sure, tell right here that it's made in Italy. Okay, in the 380 ASAP. So the magazines are very high quality. I'm very impressed by the overall quality of the gun. Now let's go ahead and compare the firearm to a Glock, because there's a lot to be said there. Okay, so bringing in the Glock 19, bringing the Glock 19 into view. Let's do a safety check again. Okay, it's safety checked. Bring in the Diamondback 380. The reason I'm doing this this comparison is to show you. Do a safety check again. Dry fire. All right. The reason I want to compare dissimilar caliber firearms is to show you what Diamondback had in mind while they were building this firearm. I don't know if they admit to it or not, but it's undeniable. And what they had in mind was Glock reliability and quality. Okay? Now, so even though the calibers are different, they knew that if they did something like this, people like me and other reviewers out there would pick up this gun and compare it to this gun right here, and for good reason. First of all, the difference is the trigger is different than the Glock. The Glock has a trigger safety built into it. Unless you press into this notch right here, the firearm will not fire. And the other difference is that the Glock's slide serrations are different than the one on the Diamondback, which makes no difference at all. The Diamondback serrations work actually, I would say a little bit better, but then I think you need better serration on a smaller firearm anyway. Now turning it around, the sights are different definitely, but they're both very, very functional. Some people don't like the Glock sights. I'm used to it and I'm a big fan of the Glock sights myself. Now look how similar the frame looks. It's uncanny how similar these firearms are. Now just like the Glock, your takedown pins are right here in the front, so you take it down exactly like you do a Glock. In the Glock, you pull the slide, you dry fire the gun first, you pull the slide back slightly, you pull down the pins and the slide comes off the same exact way on the Diamondback. So let's go ahead and do a field strip of both of the firearms, and I'll get more into the functionality of the firearm then. Let's do a safety check. Dry fire, pull back the slide a little bit, I mess this up sometimes. Hopefully don't do it today. Messed it up. It's hard standing at the angle I am standing at behind the camera. Alright, slides off. Put the slide right here and break down the Glock. Safety check. Dry fire. Pull it back a little bit. Pull down this man pin, and it slides out right there and then. So let's look at the slides first and move the frame out of the way. It's uncanny and it's sort of scary how similar both of these are. Let me zoom in right here a little bit. Both these firearms are striker fired. And if you look at the slide, except for the difference in size, they're almost exactly the same. Here's your firing pin block right here, and here's your barrel. The difference is that on the bigger Glock, it's a single captive spring, where on the Diamondback it's a double captive spring. Not double captive, it's double loaded spring, which is sort of necessary for a firearm of this size, because the springs, they pretty much take care of the. Let me take out the spring and show you. It's captive only on one side. This is the captive spring. This one is only captive on one side. So when you pull, when you fire the firearm, the spring takes up a lot of the recoil, and just look at the two springs in comparison. Now the thing to notice is, look at the length of the spring on the Diamondback as compared to the spring on the Glock 19. Even for it being a micro gun, they're almost similar, the same in size, which is pretty cool. And if you look at the barrels on both the firearms, they're very, very similar to each other as well in their design. It's as if they took a Glock, they took it apart, and they took the design of the Glock. They shrunk it, they put it in the dryer, they shrunk it, and made a baby Glock. Look at this. So and here's a look at the slides. Again, observe the similarities. Observe the chamber indicator on the Glock and the Diamondback. Look at the back. Very, very similar. Now, here's a look at the frame. Pretty much there's no difference between the two, except for the minor differences that are required because of the different chamber, different calibers, and different tolerances and different designs that are needed. But by the way, both these frames are glass reinforced polymers. There's a difference in the material of the slide for the Glock, but that's, I think that's proprietary to Glock, and no one can copy that anyway, or at least not copy it without paying a handsome royalty. Let's put the Glock back together, and you put them back exactly how you take them apart.